October 13, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. There's no economic data today that came out to really move the market. Overall, I would say it kind of moved within, I guess you could say the high and the low technically is about almost 80 points, but most of the price action happened in this region, which is about 40 points. There was quite a bit of volume today, but it didn't really translate to that many setups. I took a total of one trade and was profitable. There were a few other setups that I saw, and then there was a kind of a setup that happened very quickly that I wasn't able to get in on. It's not really a missed trade because I never had my order ready. I was just thinking and I wanted to get my order ready, but by the time I reacted, it had already moved. So get into the charts right now. It was kind of a gap up from Friday, and it pushed up, two legs down, pushed, kind of bottomed out here, which I thought was maybe the pre-market low. I mean, pre-market low technically is here, and the pre-market high is up here. Pushed up on the screen up channel. Looks like it was two legs down. Pushed up one leg, pulled back second leg, and there's just kind of a lot of choppy price action in the pre-market. Looks like it was two legs up, then two legs down, moved up this gradual green up channel. Hit what I thought was a resistance area, sold off. You technically have a first entry long here, pull back, second entry long. It's a bad signal bar, no real setup there. It's a localized low, break of this purple down channel, test the low. So it's actually from here, it's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short failure right after it breaks above this candle. But it's right at the EMA. It's also at the very beginning of the day. So I usually tend to leave those setups alone because it's pretty choppy right at the open. Pushes up, creates a triple test. Looks like it's a, well, localized bottom. You can start the count here as a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. But you can also say this is a double bottom here. So you can say it's a first entry short, second entry short. And whether you counted this as a second entry short or a lower high, I thought that was a possible trade here. It is coming right after doji, but you can tell this bar actually engulfs the two previous bars. You have triple test off a resistance. This green up channel really is hard to trust, but you could say if it's in play, it did break and attempt to test the high. I like that it was a strong engulfing bar here, and it was closed to low. So there might have been a possible trade here. It's a little more aggressive for my liking, but I marked it. Price is sold off, moves on this orange down channel, breaks. Say first entry short, pull back, second entry short, and then it creates a lower high right here. I thought it was an almost trade because it's not quite as strong a setup as this one because this one had a triple test clear resistance, pushed through the EMA, even though the EMA is a little more flat, it also engulfed the two previous bars. Now this one, you could say technically you have a first entry short here, second entry short there, but I saw it as a visual first entry, second entry, lower high. This lower high, it does engulf these two previous bars, but it's also potentially running into what I thought at the time might have been a support area right about here. So it made me a little more cautious. Pushes down, pushes back up on this orange up channel, break, first entry long, pull back, second entry long. This would have been a great trade, except, so in real time, I didn't quite have this yellow up channel drawn yet. It's an inside bar. It's not a very clean setup. You have another inside bar, and it finally pushes up. So you can say it's a visual first entry long, second entry long. It is confirmed, technically confirmed on this doji. What I wanted is a higher low. You might have a higher low here, but it's a wrong colored signal bar. Now you might have a higher low here. You do have three touch confirmation, one touch, two touch, three touch, visual first entry, second entry, and then a potential higher low, but it never broke above this guy. It does break. The follow through isn't the cleanest, so it gives me a little bit of caution, which is up. So now I'm thinking at least the low side of this this yellow up channel support seems valid. Nice bounce off of here. Technically, there's no setup here though, because it's only, you do have a first entry long here, but it count resets, so you only have technically a first entry long here. pushes up, pushes the high side, comes back down. I'm looking and expecting a bounce off this yellow up channel support. So you do have a first entry long. You technically have your second entry long here, but it's kind of far from the setup now. It doesn't have the key entry point of this yellow up channel support to help it. So I'm leaving it alone. It's choppy. Starts moving what I think is sideways trading range. Pushes down. Potential fail breakout, but it's failing to move back into this range, and the EMA could be coming into play. Pushes up. So clearly this top of the trading range is, I trust this pretty well. I'm not sure about this low side because it looked like it was working. Fail breakout, didn't make a corresponding fail breakout. It could be pressing down. When I saw this, I was ready to expand my trading range down to here to see what would happen. What would happen on the next candle? Pushes down, potential fail breakout of this bigger trading range now, because this could have been a two-tier trading range with this as the midline. But it kind of pushes and never looks back. So this trading range isn't in play anymore. Pushes down on this orange down channel. Technically, you have a first entry short. You could argue you have a second entry short engulfing, but when this one opens and it's forming, as soon as it breaks below here, I don't think there's a setup anymore, or the trade scalp has already been made. So I'm not going to be trying to chase something like this. Pushes down, pushes up, EMA acting as resistance. Technically you have a new low, first entry short. You technically have a second entry short here, but I don't like when the candles are the same color and it's a little neutral. So I just count this as a first entry short, pullback, part of the second leg, potential second entry short. Looks like it's 2 legs up, but it never broke below this bar and pushed to the EMA. So now what I thought was a setup is no setup. Pushes up, break of the green up channel, test the high, pushes back down. So now clearly the EMA is ambiguous. It's not reliable. It's both above and below the candles. So it's hard to trust it. And clearly I'm in a range right now. So I drew this blue support area and this high side a little bit later, but I did have a few trend line support areas drawn, waiting for them to confirm. Because at this point in time, the blue range hasn't really confirmed anything, but it is giving you a kind of an idea that price action is clearly just moving sideways. You have a first entry long pullback. You have a second entry long here. So it's a first entry long pullback, second entry long failure, and a new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short. Now, before this big red candle shows up, I saw this. I thought it was a break of this green up channel, broke, test the high. It's coming down on this purple down channel. Tested once, second time, maybe it's a third time, or it could have been slightly larger. So this could have been the first attempt, and this could be the second attempt. I thought there was a possible trade here, but really honestly, after this candle opened and started pressing down. So this is a late recognition by me that it does have 2 key entry points. Looks pretty good, strong push down. And unfortunately, by the time this closes, the trade's already been made. But I thought, it is, EMA is sideways. That might come back and create a lower high confirmation. So ideally, the next couple candles breaks up, hits the EMA and continues flushing down. Might be a lower high here. There is 3 touch confirmations. Pushes down. So I actually should have marked this lower high here. So actually, this is a possible trade here because you have a 3 touch resistance confirmation. It looks like you're moving down the orange down channel, confirms the failed second entry long and second entry short. Pushes down. Looks like it's moving down this orange down channel. Fits pretty nicely. This sideways consolidation. Watching carefully for this. Technically, you have a new low. You have a first entry short pullback, second entry short here. Second entry short confirms here, but you can't take it on this doji. By the time the trigger bar closes, it feels too risky because you're already near a potential support bounce area. Didn't draw it, but I saw it. There we go. So I'm not taking a trade right there. Pushes down. EMA is starting to look like it's good resistance, but then it starts pushing back up. The first entry short, pull back. Technically, you have a second entry short, but this is doji, not the strongest setup. break of this green up channel is test the high, but there's a potential that this is moving to the high side, which I think I had this resistance a little lower previously. So I was thinking maybe it's going to move to the top of the range. Kind of keeps pushing up. Hits this sideways consolidation, clearly a trading range. It's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. I didn't really like those inside bar. You could argue maybe there's a triple test here, but it didn't look as clean. What would have sealed the deal is if this EMA had come up and came up closer to this, that you can actually count it as another key entry point, but it never happened. Pushes up. So right when it hits here, that's when I thought, okay, this might be the top of the trading range. Comes back down. Inside this big blue trading range, I thought it was inside a superimposed smaller green trading range. There's a new high, technically a new high here, first entry long pullback. You could, by the technical count, say it's a second entry long, but I saw this as a count reset. This is clearly the high area, not necessarily the high point because it'd be this guy. High area visually is coming down, even though it broke above, it'd be a visual first entry long pullback, second entry long. Second entry long is a triple test. So it hasn't confirmed as a second entry long yet until this bar occurs, but it does look like a decent setup because it's one touch, two touch, three touch, a triple test. Decent signal bar. EMA isn't reliable at right now, but at least it's a bounce off this support area. Break of this orange down channel is kind of tested and made a matching low. Could reverse back up and test the high. And if you're still trading this smaller trading range, you could say there's a failed breakout, and it's failing to break out to the low, so it could resume back up. So it's possible trade here, pushes, hits the high side. It's now being crushed between both the EMA and the high side of this trading range, which is correspondingly matching the high of this larger blue trading range. So it just kind of gives me an idea that there might be a lot of resistance here, or at least some people looking to press it down if it breaks over. So it does break over. I'm thinking there's a failed breakout. This could be the failed breakout that's coming back down. But what worries me is it doesn't break below the EMA. So the EMA is still kind of acting as support. Pushes up. So now I think there might be a breakout pullback, or this range, this green one, is no longer in play. Because clearly I'm not really trading this purple one anymore. Its usefulness has expired. Presses down, first entry long. Technically I have a second entry long here, but it's just a little bit congested. Just too many candles side by side. No clean break or no clean attempt to run in any direction. Pushes up to the high. Creates this new high. Visual first entry long pullback, second entry long, also localized low. Very clean and technical first entry short, pullback, second entry short. So the next candle is going to determine whether it confirms both the second entry long and the failed second entry short. So I thought it might have been a possible trade. It's a little more aggressive because you're going to break of the green orange up channel, made one attempt up, pullback could be a second attempt. This technically broke on the high side. So I thought it was a little more aggressive for sure, because you're also potentially running into a support area. But this candle is only 7 ticks, which might have been worth the risk. Keeping in consideration, you have 2 key entry points, these two, plus a bounce off the EMA. And this top of this support area really isn't confirmed as a trading range yet. I did have it drawn initially a little tighter, like up to here. That would be the bottom of a range. Pushes up. Also saw as new high, visual first entry long pullback, second entry long failure. I actually saw this and I thought, oh, when this one closed, I thought prices might come down if it breaks below this EMA. So I was thinking of getting a trade ready, but I needed a confirmation break below the EMA. It's going to show that it's pushing back down. And if it breaks below the EMA, ideally break below the low of this trading range, which would give me confidence. So it pushes down. It kind of stops short. So I'm watching and waiting. Pushes through. So I'm thinking it broke through this low of this trading range. When it comes back, pushes up, EMA is starting to hold. The bottom of the trading range is holding. So I'm thinking this failed breakout might actually just be a breakout pullback and continue downwards. So I entered at the lows here, pushes down. I went for 2 points. It is a little more aggressive because I am running into this top of this range, which I said I don't think is in play, but it might be some kind of carry over. There might be some trades here. And top of this blue trading range, which I thought may be in play. But still, I thought it was a worthwhile trade because I don't think they're as strong a condition as the setup. So I entered, got my quick 2-point scalp, pushes up, kind of moves sideways, pushes up. My stop was actually would have been up here. So if I went for more than 2 points, I'd still be alive. Then this one would have stopped me out. So in hindsight, I think this probably should have just been a conservative 1-point scalp, considering that this is a support area that could have bounced off of. So it'd been safer just to quickly get out 1 point before potentially running into issues here. Prices move out, breaks out of the actual pre-market high, which is established right here. Potential fail breakout here. First entry long, pullback. Technically have a second entry long, no setup though, which is down. Break of the green down channel is tested low. Looks like it's reversing. You have a first entry short. Maybe a second entry short here, but it's a bad signal bar. And you're already shorting into a potential support area because this may or may not be in play. It's a little uncertain, this line here. But I don't treat it with as much respect as a test a trading range if you're coming in from the bottom, because you're coming in from the top. Price kind of moves sideways, starts moving down this red down channel. No clean setups. Break, first entry short. I'm looking for 2 legs up now. There could be a potential second entry short here, but I'd be concerned of running into the EMA. The follow through isn't conclusive. I mean, isn't decisive. So it never broke below here. So I'm not thinking of going short anymore. Kind of hits the sideways consolidation. I saw this like a break of this system moving sideways. Fail break on this side. I just saw this. I thought it was a decent signal bar, but not really an almost trade, not an actual trade as well, because it just has a good signal bar. And I just had a hunch it was going to move up, but my hunch is unjustified. So definitely marked it and just need to be aware of those hunches because those have gotten me in trouble in the past where I would take a trade. Prices move up, hits the high side, moves down to this orange down channel. First entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here, broke below, but it closed right at the same height. If it had broken above and engulfed it, that would have been a possible trade. Pushes up, closes, so the follow through isn't very decisive. Pushes down, starts moving down what I think might be a developing channel, but it's not the cleanest. It's a low, first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here, not a good signal bar, pushes back, maybe a follow through. So it could be a first entry short, visual second entry short, decent signal bar, but it's kind of running into the EMA. So I'm not 100% sure. This orange down channel looks like a spike and a gradual channel down. So yes, it's a break of this transparent down channel, but it doesn't look very clean. I don't really like this channel, so I don't really trust the second entry short. It would have worked in this case, so I'm looking for potentially a lower high. But it already breaks to the high side, so you don't have a lower high anymore. Which is up, new high, first entry long, pull back. You unfortunately don't get a second entry long here. See if I can maximize this. Now you do have a first entry long pullback, potential second entry long, but it never broke below, so it's a little ambiguous. Now, how this one printed, it just looks too congested, too side by side, which is up. I drew this, trusted this as a trend line support more than an actual channel, but it still doesn't really give you any clean setups. Pushes down, it's a first entry long, creates a new high, so no second entry longs possible. Pushes down, kind of gets choppy. Looks like it's a no first entry long, except right here. Maybe a second entry long right there, but that signal bar, this is just getting congested. And if you look at the timestamp, it's just getting too late in the day to try to take a trade. It's the last minute. So overall, it's not too much, not very many setups I could identify. This was a possible trade here. Unfortunately, I missed it and it flushed down pretty quickly. see, push this, and for the most part, it was just a lot of sideways price action. So hopefully that was helpful.